I'm sorry, I didn't turn on the. Okay. You need the phone again. You need the phone. Any questions so far? No? Okay, so we'll have some short classes today and the next one, okay? So we're going to talk about chapter 16, and we mostly talk about how exchange rates are set and then government intervention. Okay. So far we briefly learned exchange rate could be fixed, free floating, managed float, and pegged. Right? So we'll talk about in detail how they work and what are some limitations and drawbacks. Okay. So when you say fixed, what comes to our mind? Fixed exchange rate system. Hypothetically assume there are two countries in this world. Let's do Mexico. So there are two countries in this world, USA and Mexico. Exchange rate between these two countries fixed. What can we think of? So when we say the exchange rate is fixed, that means for any sort of transactions, exchange rate will be constant, right? If we say right now, this is the exchange rate, that will be constant over time. So the definition is exchange rate will be constant, and constant. If that is true, what do you think? Any problems, any drawbacks, any limitations? Is there any benefit? Is there any problem? One of the benefit is MNCs do not need to bother about what? Currency volatility, right? That's the benefit. But what is the problem? If USA and Mexico decided exchange rate will fix forever, what is the problem?
It works both ways so that if it does appreciate, you're not going to make any gains off of it.
So the most important problem is it's going to be tough for financial institutions and the government to maintain. So let's say there is higher inflation in Mexico. If there's higher inflation in Mexico, what does it mean? consumers in Mexico, what they will do? Do they still prefer goods and services from Mexico or US? US, right? That means they will demand more of US currency, dollars, right? US currency should have appreciated, but we decided to be fixed. So financial institutions will face the problem, right? Because they should not have the supply of the inventory of US dollar, right? Demanded by Mexico. Similarly, if we say higher national income in USA, higher national income in US, US has higher national income. People, all of you have more income. Now, we used to earn $10, now we have $20. What do you want to do? There are two countries in this world. Demand, also. Similarly, financial institutions should not or may not have inventory, right? So there should be appreciation maximum place. So the major problem with fixed exchange rate is appreciation or depreciation, because if it's fixed, it's tough to maintain the exchange rate on that level because demand and supply keep changing, right? How they can address this problem? The government can revalue or devalue exchange rate in a timely manner. Maybe monthly, maybe quarterly, maybe semi-annually, something like that. Devalue means the home currency is weakening the exchange rate. Revalue means the home currency is appreciating. Make sense? Questions about fixed exchange rate. Some benefits, some drawbacks. So these are some, I should say, history, regulation. I strongly recommend to read these from the book. They're going to give you some ideas of how those things evolved, right? 100 years ago, it used to be gold standard, right? We used to use gold as a transaction process. Then we have gone through a lot of agreements and reach a different exchange rate system, right? So go and read those history. As there are some problems with fixed exchange rate, most of the countries, they actually move towards freely float exchange rate. So again, two countries in this world. Freely float. That means this exchange rate will keep changing. Right? Keep changing. Any of the directions. And which is the common practice nowadays, right? Exchange rate keep changing, right? Any of the directions. So what are some advantages? So now the advantages is all those inflation, unemployment, interest rate, all are basically adjusted on the exchange rate. If some countries experience inflation, there is no impact on the other country, right? That is adjusted. That's the good thing. One of the bad things, MNCs have to worry about appreciation and depreciation. They have to worry about managing their exposure, right? But we know that there are a lot of currency derivative options so that MNCs can manage that. So do you really prefer exchange rate to freely float? Other than that, other than MNC is scared, MNC is anxious about management, their risk exposure due to currency is gonna change, exchange is gonna change. Other than that, is there any other problem? If the exchange rate between USA and Mexico freely float, is there any other problem? Do you see any other problem? For what? Why uncertainty? I already told you, right? MNC will have uncertainty, right? Other than this, other than MNC will face those volatility. Do you see any other problem? So let's say this way, Mexico has high inflation. Explain me what gonna be subsequent impact. Mexico has high inflation, what gonna be subsequent impact? People from Mexico demand goods and services from USA, right? Right? If this is true, think about manufacturers from USA. They can see we have higher demand from abroad, right? Because on international terms and conditions, products in USA are cheaper, right? What if they also raise the price? Because they have demand from abroad, right? What if they also raise the price? They don't care about USA consumer and customers. They can easily sell it to foreigners, right? So that is the problem of free flow, cyclical effect. Inflation in one country can enforce consumers of that country to buy goods and services from foreign country, which is going to increase the demand from foreign country. As a result, the country that is having low inflation right now may see that they have higher demand from abroad because products are cheaper in their country. They can raise the price for more profit. Makes sense? So that is also a problem of free float systems, spillover. Other than MNC is concerned about the currency fluctuations, other than MNC have to cover for the risk exposure. Another problem, local companies can increase the price because they have higher demand from their abroad. Make sense? Again, inflation in Mexico. People in Mexico demanding from USA. Producer in USA, they can see higher demand from Mexico. They can raise the price because they have demand from foreigners, don't care about consumers in USA. That could also increase price level. Math, yes. So you can think about in terms of national income. If there is high unemployment, what does it mean? Economy is not doing good, right? Economy is not doing good, national income is less. We may not expect a lot of import, right? may not expect a lot of import, currency can be weakened, right? That may induce some more export and also affecting economy on the other country. Make sense? Good question. High unemployment. Let's say high unemployment, Mexico. That means income level, overall income level of Mexico is not good, right? They should not be demanding more goods from USA, right? That means there will be lower import in Mexico. Current account balance could be positive, right? And that can subsequently affect exchange rate. That could subsequently affect export. And similarly, that can affect the economy on the other countries. So when there is a free float, any changes in the exchange rate will affect your export-import decisions, price level in other countries. And that is the impact. Questions? Managed float. So when you're talking about managed float, this is basically an extension of float. In a free float, what we do? We leave the exchange rate to be wild. They can go anywhere, right? They can move anywhere. Think about Russian currency after the war. It was tanked, right? Because it's free float. In a managed float, government sometimes intervene so that their currency value do not move way further. They intervene to keep it within a certain range. That is called managed float. There are some criticism because if any government, any countries intervene so that their exchange rate do not go very further, there are some criticism because government is doing that to benefit its own country at the expense of others. Make sense? Government is basically doing for its own country at the expense of others. So these are some examples of countries that actually follow floating exchange rate for their countries. Most of the developed countries, they actually do floating exchange rate. Most of the countries in this world, unless they are not having a temporary shock in the economy. Most of the countries in this world, they actually follow free float. Pegged exchange rate. When you say pegged exchange rate, it actually pegged to one foreign currency index. It will exactly move in same direction, same magnitude with the currency or index it is pegged with. Let's say Mexican peso is pegged with US dollar. Okay. If US dollar appreciates, Mexican peso will appreciate. Same direction, same magnitude. US dollar depreciate, Mexican peso depreciate. Same direction, same magnitude. So when any countries follow PECT, they actually following one developed country, maybe US, maybe UK, something like that. And their currency will exactly move same direction, same magnitude. Why they want to do that? To attract foreign investments. That's the most important reason. Because if any currency is highly volatile, foreign investors may not be willing to invest on that country because they may not be willing to bear currency volatility. They may not be willing to go for any risk management strategies like buying options, forward contract, future contract. If any country is pegging its currency with a developed currency, the thing is that it may minimize volatility and may attract foreign investments. That's the benefit, that's the motivation why any country want to go for pegging. What are the limitations? The main reason when any country want to pay is basically they are going through economic uncertainty, they are going through political turbulence. And that is the reason they are taking it to the developed country. So the problem is if they are facing those issues really high, there is a possibility the developed country will break the pay contract. They will say, you cannot pay me anymore. So here is the problem. So there are some agreements, there are some history, like when there are some pacts with different countries. So I recommend just go over those history. So let's see. These are some examples. Bahama, Barbados, all those countries. Sometimes they pact with US dollar or euro. They have their own currency, but at the same time, they want their currency to move or peg with a developed currency so that they can minimize their volatility, they can attract foreign investments. But at the same time, if this currency goes through a lot of issues, a lot of turbulence, these countries may break the state policy. Make sense? Questions? So basically, in history, these countries take their own currency. Let's say Saudi Arabia here paid the US dollar. So they initially started with a certain exchange rate and then just follow US dollar. US dollar appreciating, their currency appreciating. US dollar appreciating, their currency appreciating. But the problem is, if they suffer a lot of political uncertainty, turbulence, there is a possibility US can break pegging with Saudi Arabia, and which is the problem. So if any country decided to pay their own currency with another currency, they have to reserve or maintain the currency reserve of the foreign currency with whom they are paying. So they have to maintain the reserves so that their currency can move with the currency they want to pay. Interest rate between these two countries will move similarly too. So these are the things. If any country decided, let's say, from example, Saudi Arabia decided they're gonna pay with US dollar. They have to maintain sufficient reserve of US dollar so that their currency can move with the direction of US dollar. At the same time, interest rate between Saudi Arabia and US will also move in a similar direction, similar magnitude, so that the relationship holds over time. If Saudi Arabia facing a lot of issues, maybe war, maybe something else, US may break the pegging with Saudi Arabia. Any questions? About this 4 different, yes, that's a great question. The benefit for US may do this to get favor in future in international trade. Maybe the benefit is to make a friend, which is out of the context of this course, but that's more about political science or something like that. But that's a good question. Maybe for trade, maybe let's say US is highly dependent on Saudi Arabia for their oil, right? Crude oils. So they can get good rate when they're purchasing crude oils. That's the benefit. And most of the countries, I don't know if you guys know or not, out of the context of this class, some other discussions. Most of the countries, they have different natural resources, but they do not know how to drill, how to dig, how to refine these resources. On those cases, US firms can get the contract to carry out drilling, digging, refining those resources. Those are some benefits. Any questions in context, out of context of this class?
Do you know if Venezuela is still pegged to the US currency?
I don't think so. This is a historical information, but I don't think so. But that's a good question to check with Google, but I don't think so. They still do it. Anything else? Okay, dollarization. What is that? This is kind of a pegging, but this is not actually a pegging. It's exactly replacement of the foreign currency with US dollars. If any country want to replace, completely replace their home currency with US dollars, that is called dollarizations. On that country, they will use dollar for exchange, currency exchange. So that they can skip the volatility, they can attract foreign investments because MNC will be more interested to go and do business. So that is called dollarization. Black market for currencies. Any idea on that? Black market for foreign currencies. Did you guys travel anytime outside USA, or how do you pay? Credit card, anything else? Did you carry any like dollars and convert it? Did you have an experience of black market?
Like we go outside of the bank in the market and we just give them the dollars and they give us, because the bank is supposed to give them, so I do.
You're talking about exchange houses, right? Small exchange houses, right? Those are still licensed.
No, it's true.
In this, that's the black, right? That's the black one. That's correct. So if you go to like developing countries, one of the main fears of the government is that if I allow my country people to send money outside, they'll do a lot. My currency gonna be weakened. Make sense? So there are a lot of countries, including me, my country. If you want to transfer my currency to the US or anywhere, it's not possible. Completely. So you have to show a lot of evidence. Have to show. Even you make, like, I think last week my elder was calling me, he has to make a $300 transaction. You cannot. So even you make any transaction in higher amount. The fear is, the government is fearful that my home country people can transfer the currency to the outside. So going back to the demand and supply theory, if foreign country demand more of the US dollar, what is the impact? US dollar appreciate, right? And that home can depreciate, right? That may affect their trade of balance, lot of different things, right? So most of the developing countries, they do not prefer to allow their citizens to transfer money for very minor reasons. You have to show a lot of solid reasons to transfer their currency in abroad countries so that they can keep their currency strong. And for those issues, we can have people on the streets. For those issues, we can have someone who actually have account in both of the countries and can allow you to transfer money informally. Let's say there is a person who lives US, but also have account in Mexico. Bank account in Mexico. Someone giving him Mexican peso in Mexico and he's gonna transfer US dollar in US. This is kind of black. And due to those black market activities, even if the government is not allowing you legally, but due to those black market activities, your exchange rate is still affected. It is still weak, still strong. Because a lot of money is basically transferring under the table, which you cannot count for, which you cannot control. And those people will definitely give you better rates because they are not licensed. They don't need to pay a lot of fees and they don't follow a lot of regulations, right? And that is the impact. And their activity has direct impact on any exchange rate within the countries. Because they are transferring a lot of money under the table. So as a result, some countries experience inflows, some countries experience outflows, right? And that affect economic activity, GDP, interest, inflation, a lot of other things, right? And black markets has really good impact, which is a significant impact for exchange of determinations between developing countries and the developed one. Because if you go to any developed countries, they are open, they are allowed to do whatever you want to do. There are a lot of international trade, a lot of things are going on, it's fine, but developed towards the development country, this market is impactful. We never talk about this market, we never teach this market, we never quantify this market. This market is impactful. Questions? All right. So that's all for today. Enjoy rest of the day and we can see you on Tuesday.